Hello guys, my name is NaToSaphiX. Today we have another video. This time it is yet another video for play.gg. Today we'll be taking a look at G2 before and after the addition of their new in-game leader HooXi. Enjoy. For their opener against NIP, G2 have decided to run a slow and default T-pistol. Since this is quite boring, let me skip ahead. This pistol round isn't anything special, but I've decided to show you it anyway because of one specific thing. This is the big difference between the two G2 lineups. The previous G2 lineup with Aleksib played a lot of slow and default heavy Counter-Strike, whereas the new G2 with HooXi has decided to employ a much different style of Counter-Strike. This slow default round of CS culminates into a 3 vs 3 scenario over on the B-bomb side that G2 will end up losing. Comparing this to the current G2's pistol round against FaZe, we see a much more fast, explosive pistol round that ends up with G2 winning it. Take this round from the old G2 where they take a long time setting up this round where it feels like NiP destroys it before it even begins. And compare it to this round where the exact same lineup manages to take a timing and create some chaos that makes other things happen around the map. Watching G2 on these nuke demos, it is clear to me that they thrive in chaos. And they are definitely not the first, nor will they be the last team to have this kind of a trait. I would even argue that in the 15 rounds in this NiP vs G2 match, the only good round that G2 have on their T side is this one, where they constantly are trading, creating so much chaos and just outplaying their opponents. Look how Hunter uses his smoke here to block off Aleksib, and then afterwards smokes himself off so that Aleksib can take a timing. It's just brilliant. But unfortunately, a lot of the rounds started like this. Or they started like this. Fast forwarding a bit and we see the new G2 lineup on the second round after pistol on their T side. HooXi calls a delayed A execute that overruns the FaZe clan setup. Once again we see G2 in a lot of chaos, but once again we see trades back and forth even during these very hectic moments. And it turns into a one-on-one that G2 will pick up. Round directly after, FaZe Clan forced up once again and HooXi calls an A rush. Once again, G2 are going to completely obliterate the FaZe Clan setup on the A bomb site. Round directly after and HooXi once again calls the A rush, and once again they are going to be taking over the A bomb site that FaZe are now leaving to a retake. This is Giga Chad energy. And then we go back to the old G2 when NiKo is slowly lurking outside. He spent more than a minute doing so. Even after this entry, G2 are now just holding their position on ramp while the timer is ticking down. NiP are updating info outside and G2 are leaving themselves about 8 seconds to get this bomb down. A single kill comes in and the round is now over, but what goes from bad to worse is the fact that G2 even loses not one but 2 players after the time has run out. I mentioned previously how G2 really only had one good round in this entire half. This round does not start out well, and it also doesn't really end particularly well, but G2 managed to pick it up anyway. And it's mainly due to Rez pushing up on the T roof and making a sound cue when he jumps onto the silo. This gives G2 a free frag and they manage to combine a second one onto it. With 1 whole minute left on the clock, G2 almost lose the round by slowing down once again, and if Brolin would have been a little bit sharper, this could have been a multi-kill and maybe the round for NiP. In the CT pistol here for G2 against NiP, it comes down to individual brilliance in the end. NiKo gets smoked off and Isatak crosses, but NiKo manages to find a kill through the smoke, and then Jax gets a lucky timing onto Isatak but still manages to take a headshot. Jax is just using his movement so well on updating the info, knowing that Isatak is not moving whatsoever, and eventually he will be taking him down. In the CT pistol round for the new G2, we're going to be seeing an A execute of sorts coming in, and HooXi dies very early on. With this retake flash, JKS goes in and has massive impact, turning this 3-on-5 into a 2 versus 1 situation. G2 are eventually going to win it. Of all the rounds that I've watched of the new G2, I think this might just be my favorite. m0NESY and NiKo combine to get a double entry outside, and then instead of just sitting back in true G2 fashion, they actually push and lobby crunch in the 5 versus 3. This is the last thing that FaZe expect, and it works out great for G2. Enjoy another G2 double entry on the outside. Here m0NESY gets a first kill, and then NiKo behind red is in prime position to take the second. Later on in the match, m0NESY gets a single, and then afterwards he actually even gets a double for his trouble. For me, the looseness and the fluidity of the outside hole for G2 right now is just next level on nuke, but I still want to show you around where they're not doing everything perfect to show that they are beatable. This is a 1-on-3 that Brokey won against them on the A bomb site. G2 had multiple occasions with this retake flash working out perfectly. In this round they flash out, then they molo. NiKo takes the first kill, and when he hears rain burning under him, he takes him as well. He actually flies out and even takes a third kill before running out of bullets, and then eventually Twist will get killed by someone else. I have shown you a ton of clips now of the old G2 and the new G2, but to do a small final conclusion here at the end, the big difference that I see in G2 is that their T side is much more explosive and energetic, whereas before it seemed like they were very afraid of making mistakes. To me, it looks like HooXi has come in the right way to G2. HooXi has come into this team not as a boss but as a leader. He's just guiding the star players of G2 and giving them the freedom that they need to flourish. I think that is why we see a much more fluid and dynamic G2, and why we see so many double entries on outside in these very, very aggressive setups. Combine that with a T side that is both fast, explosive and extremely unpredictable, led by a captain with a great mind for Counter-Strike in HooXi, it seems like G2 have finally found a recipe for long-term success, and I hope that we see this roster stay together for a long time. A much improved G2 is the conclusion of this video, and I do hope that you have enjoyed it. Thank you for watching ASMR.